Hey guys, so I know I haven't done a video in a very long time. I'm sorry, but I just needed a break to get back in the swing of things, of school starting again back in January, and after working so much and all of that stuff. But I'm back. So I kind of took January off, as I said, but I did upload a vlog last week, which will be listed down below. It will be all about my roommate Tara, which you guys have met in some recruitment videos and things like that. But it's all about living with a crazy roommate, because Tara does some crazy stuff. Anyways, this video is all about my transfer experience, and since it's February, applications are starting to be due for freshmen and transfers, and I want to share my advice. So, I guess like the first piece of advice I have is know if you're in state or out of state, because knowing if you're in state or out of state can does help determine where you go. When I was first starting my transfer process, I left my school at the beginning of, spring of 2014. I was trying to go somewhere in the fall of 2014. And I was considered out of state in North Carolina, which sucked because my parents may have been living there for a year, but since I got my license in December, I only was living there since December. It sucks. So like make sure you have a plan for that, because I did have to take a semester off and it wasn't in my plan to things to do, but it happened, and I kind of rebelled a little bit. Like, you didn't let me go to school, so I'm not gonna work and I'm just gonna sit on the house all day for a whole semester, and it probably wasn't the best decision, but it happened and we're gonna move past it. Also, if you are transferring and you did transfer from a private school like I did and want to go to a new, like a public school, be aware of how the credits transfer, because all of my credits from my private university did not transfer as general education or anything, except my French transferred as my foreign language. So just be aware of what classes you have, and don't turn down the opportunity of going to a community college to gain credits like I did. I hated going to community college. I don't think I'll recommend it to my little brother or anything, but I know it was good for me to do that because I got my general eds out of the way so I could just focus on my major when I got here. But obviously it wasn't in the cards for me, and I didn't think going to community college would sound smart, I guess. Sound like nice and proper, and I kind of took that into account of things, but honestly I wish I didn't, because it did help me, because I did end up being able to graduate there with an associate's, which meant all my gen eds were covered except like a foreign language and a gym class, and that's all I have to do here. So just make sure you understand how things are transferring, and if you do go to community college, talk to the advisors there, because they will really help you figure out what classes you need to take at the community college that will transfer specifically for your major when you get there, and all of that stuff. I guess my next piece of advice is to do your research. I did so much research when I went to find a school. I had a lot of different criteria that were important to me, like it had to have sororities. Like, that was a big must for me. As you can see, like, obviously I went through the recruitment process and I loved it, and I found my home and I'm great. But it had to have sororities, and had to have more than 4, because that's how many of the school I came from had. Also, I wanted it to have a football team. Obviously, you go to UNCW and they don't have a football team, but I'm completely okay with them not having a football team for some reason. I think it was because when I was in high school, I never really got that experience of a football game, because I was always in band and had to do band things, but I wanted it in college. Even though I chose one that didn't have a football team, it really wasn't that big of a deal, because when I toured UNCW, it had the feel for me, which is another thing. Like, you have to be able to go to campus and see if it feels like a place you could be for the next however many years. I visited UNCW I think 3 or 4 times before actually coming here, and it definitely had everything I needed and had that college feel. Like, my first college didn't have that, and the other college that I looked at when I was in high school didn't have that feel, but this one certainly did. So just like figure out what's important to you. Like, my location was very important to me. I wanted to be within 3 or 4 hours of my parents so I could come home often. I'm actually going home tomorrow, which is great. I can't wait. But so we can come home often, and just like what's around you. Is there people go off campus? Do you have a way to get off campus if you don't have a car like I do? And just things like that. Just keep in mind what's important to you when you transfer and find things that match that. So I think one of my last tips for transferring would be make sure you know how many transfers go there. UNCW has a high acceptance rate for transfer students, which is great, but how are they when they get there? UNCW does have a Teal Bridge program specifically for transfers that help you meet other transfers and meet other students and do things, but a lot of it was off campus and you had to pay for. So being someone who didn't have a lot of money and lived on campus without a car, it was difficult to get to these activities and stuff. But they also had it was called Uni 201. It was a transfer seminar. It's like a first year seminar, but specifically for transfers, you can only take your first semester there. And it was okay. So you had a peer mentor that was also a transfer student before, and I'm actually finding him next year, so hopefully I get that. The professor I had only taught this class for freshmen, so they didn't really know how to handle the transfers. They didn't really help transfers understand the advising process, because as a film major, I don't meet my advisor every semester to figure out classes. It's a group thing, and you kind of just figure it out yourself, which is not what I like, but I had a little bit of help. I think one of the really helpful things we did was create a graduation plan, which listed out all the classes I have to take from now, from my first semester till graduation, to meet all the requirements of graduation and my major and things like that. I think that was probably the most helpful part of that. Hopefully the professor now understands how to treat transfers. We are really different from freshmen. A lot of transfers come from other big universities, and some come from community colleges. People come from community colleges, need that advising help. Maybe the big university people don't, but if you've been to a community college and never been to a university, you don't know how advising works and how scheduling works, so you really need that help. I think all in all, transferring really was the best idea for me. It really found a school I love, and I love being here, and it has everything I needed, and I think I wouldn't have got that at my first school. I wouldn't be happy right now. I wouldn't be graduating with a major I liked, and yeah, so if you guys have any questions about transferring or UNCW or anything, you can leave them down below. Also, give this video a thumbs up, and then don't forget to subscribe, because I make new videos every Thursday. New vlogs go up every Monday, and then hit the little notification button down there so you don't miss a video ever. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!